Welcome back to Daytona, the Budweiser Shootout on Fox, brought to you by Budweiser. The bright color and crisp, clean taste you'll only find in the king of beers. And by Chevy, the winningest name in racing, Chevy, an American revolution. With Jeff Hammond of the Hollywood Hotel, Greg Biffle, Vancouver, Washington, leading the way. In 2004, the pole sitter at the Daytona 500, his only career Bud pole at that point, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. having some problems.
Yeah, he's not really showing the muscle we're used to seeing when it comes to restrictor plate racing, and he's been back and forth, but he's definitely not been coming to the front like we really expect him to do early on, so I wonder what's going on. All
right, let's get a check on that and join Dick Bergman. Dick?
Well, Junior's not really sure what's going on other than he has lost the draft and then some. He said it's getting worse. He speculated that it may be a wire, a potential engine problem in car number 8.
Dick, he's losing 2 seconds per lap to the 18 cars that are in the lead draft, led by Greg Biffle and Tony Stewart, as Jeff Bodine drops down to the bottom of the racetrack, headed for the garage.
That's one of those unknowns. I mean, he's got a whole new crew he's working with, and these are not the cars he's accustomed to driving. Those are the 15 cars. And so, you know, he's got a lot of things to work through.
And the biggest thing Dick Bergman he's hoping for is to make it another 7 laps, be able to get it to that break and see what's going on with that car.
Well, he said a plug wire is off, or at least he feels as if a plug wire is off in that car, and it's all the way around the racetrack. Engine trouble for car number 8, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Well, if that's what it is, he can make it to the break. He'll be back in this thing if that's all it is.
Yeah, because he should not go a lap down, even losing 2 seconds a lap to the leader.
The man on the move, 5th in line, Ryan Newman, who led the league with 9 poles last year. The Purdue University engineering graduate has broken out of the second pack, and he is now running down the front 4.
And it'll be interesting to see if he can run those top 4 down, because right now the top 4 seems content to run single file.
I think he can, Larry. He's kind of in a catbird seat. He's got people in front of him sucking up and people behind him are pushing him, so he should be able to get up there.
There's the interval, and you see it is coming down slightly, and now Newman has help. Casey Mears in the Target Dodge. You see the new Dodge Charger shape on those machines as they try to gain some ground on the front 4. That 4-car lead draft is now 7.
Been watching Jeff Gordon in that 24 car. He's just not going anywhere. He seems stuck back there in about 11th to 15th.
That's a big surprise. Watched him in practice last night. He looked so fast.
Here's Matt on Jeff Gordon.
An interesting comment Jeff Gordon made to me earlier today. He said that with a smaller plate, Mike, that the driver has to be even more mistake-free because the closing rate is not as fast as years past. So you've got to make the right move at the right time. Right now, he is just mired back in traffic. Jeannie?
Well, it is definitely early, but let's just say the attitude is upbeat in the 16 pit of Greg Biffle because they tested this shootout car down here, and it is living up to the hype. The news is even better when you consider this. This car wasn't the fastest car they brought down here and tested. The Daytona 500 car tested much faster. Steve?
Well, Jeannie, we just heard Mark Martin call to his crew chief, Pat Trison, a relieved Mark Martin. He had a tire rub, and he said it has gone away, and he is relieved about that.
Well, we got some good racing up front here, guys. 48 car, Jimmy Johnson, and the 12 to Ryan Newman are closing on our leaders.
Casey Mears in that 41 car, he's worked his way up to the 5th position. Remember, Mike, you mentioned earlier, he was involved in an accident last night.
And now, about now is when the handling really kicks in. Now is when the car starts to either be really, really good or starting to push like a dump truck.
I just want to follow up on what Matt Yoakum was talking about, the smaller plate. NASCAR reduced the size of the carburetor restrictor plate by a 64th of an inch. Remember, the carburetor restrictor plate takes about 400 horsepower away. That 64th of an inch took about 12 horsepower away.
And that's just throttle response. I mean, every time they reduce that plate size, it just reduces the amount of time it takes, or it increases the amount of time it takes for you to accelerate.
Stewart made a move. It looked like Johnson might go with him. Then they went right back in line. Jeff Hammond.
Mike, what I've been watching here, I think Larry touched on a minute ago, was Casey Mears. Started all the way back here in 18th. And again, he was involved in the spin out down on the back straightaway last night during practice. And a lot of times you worry about a driver losing some confidence when something like that happens, because he knows it was his mistake, and he almost took one of his competitors out. And after that, when he went over to talk to Ricky Rudd, well, they had a verbal exchange, and his crew chief, Fatback McSwain, they got heated. So you always wonder if that's going to affect the guy. But right now, he's looking really strong as he tries to get underneath Tony Stewart and move up into 4th place. So he's definitely got a fast race car here tonight.
Did you see Ryan Newman bump draft Jimmy Johnson right up into 2nd place?
And not only did the 41 get in trouble last night, Casey Mears, but that also kind of makes you a little nervous when you get around him tonight, too.
Slow car. Oh, Mark Martin wiggling somewhat.
Left rear. Is that the left?
I should be able to make it, shouldn't I? To 20. 10-4, but we only got 2 more laps. This is number 19 here. We only got to run 1 more.
Here's Matt.
An interesting sidebar. I talked to Michael Fatback McSwain, and he was joking about the incident last night because he lives right next door to Casey Mears. And I mean, the lot right next door. His dad called him this morning and said, should I just go by your house to make sure everything's all right? He goes, nah, we're good.
And what Mark Martin in the 6 car is trying to do, you heard him talking to his crew chief, he's trying to get 1 more lap, because that'll be lap 20. That'll end the 1st segment. But he has to hope that that tire does not come apart and tear the quarter panel off of it.
He'll be all right if he makes it around. The field will come around to 20 laps this time, because NASCAR scoring freezes the field at the instant of caution. They're going to let the whole field cycle through the start-finish line, and then they will throw the caution flag. So at 20 laps, the leader is Greg Biffle. Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Ryan Newman, Casey Mears, Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, Bill Elliott, Jeff Gordon, Brian Vickers, and Ricky Rudd are the top 10, and that's how the field will freeze.
And it's my understanding they actually will not throw the caution flag until the final car crosses the start-finish line. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 8 car, remember, he was looking for this break right here because we anticipate he maybe has a spark plug wire off. Good chance for them to fix that car.
And it looks like Mark Martin will stay on the lead lap. The teams will come pit side and make adjustments when we come back.
Welcome back to the Budweiser Shootout, brought to you by Budweiser. Fox, glad to have you with us from Daytona, and the 20-lap segment complete. Greg Biffle, your leader. Mark Martin, the left rear tire going down. Also, Dale Earnhardt Jr. having some problems with Jeff Hamlin. Chris Myers in the Hollywood Hotel getting ready for 50 laps of what should be an exciting finish with a 10-minute break. Let's check in now with Jeannie Zelasco.
Well, on the pace laps, crew chief Doug Reichert told the 16 team of Greg Biffle to treat this stop just like the real thing, a real pit stop, to knock the jitters off, make sure this whole thing works. Why? Because there's 3 new guys over the wall. Matt?
Service almost complete on Jimmy Johnson Chevrolet. He said the car was starting to go to the tight side in the center of the corner and then loose on exit, meaning the back end wanted to start to come around. But he said the corner entry was awesome, Dick.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s hood is up, and that is no surprise. It surely sounds like an electrical problem. He said it started when he was in the middle of one of those 3-wide deals, then it went away, and then it came back with a vengeance. He keeps saying it feels like a plug wire is off. Right now, 4 mechanics are under the hood trying to diagnose just what has gone wrong to the engine on Dale Earnhardt's car. Steve.
Dick, Mark Martin came into his pits very slowly. Crew chief Pat Trison just told Mark, your left rear tire is a mess. Mark said this car, when I put it in neutral, is vibrating so badly it feels like a wheel is busted. Pat is looking at the situation right now. He told Mark, let's just find out what the problem is before we do anything else. Now they're going to jack it up. Chris Myers.
All right, thanks, Steve. And how about it for Dale Earnhardt Jr.? I think a plug wire fell off. Explain that for us.
Well, what he's talking about right now is a lot of times when you put the plug wire on, just like you would normally do in your regular passenger car, sometimes it doesn't click like it needs to. And what that means is when you're out there running around the draft, there's so much turbulence from time to time. If the wire's not on properly, it will literally just kind of like disconnect, and all of a sudden you have a dead cylinder, and that's what he's probably feeling. Early on, it was kind of in a 3-way battle up through there. That's probably when it's occurred, if that's what it actually happened. You see the team continually work primarily on the right side trying to find the problem.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. starting from the rear of the field because of transmission problems. Let's check in on Jeff Gordon with Matt Yoakum.
Chris, Jeff Gordon started 11th. He's now up to 8th. He says the car needs to be freed up a little bit. Not an aggressive change, just a slight change. But he also made a comment to crew chief Robbie Loomis. Take a look at the nose of the car. He said, I beat on the back of the 21 car of Ricky Rudd pretty good. He said Ricky would open up a hole, and then when Jeff would start to make his move, Ricky would close it. So he was doing a lot of bump drafting out there, but the nose of that 24 car looks pretty decent.
All right, thanks. 12th Budweiser Shootout for Jeff Gordon, a two-time winner. Greg Biffle, your leader after the first segment, leading 19 of the 20 laps. Dale Jarrett, who started on the pole, led the other lap. We've got 50 laps to go. We'll be back here from Daytona in just a moment. We're at the break at the Budweiser Shootout here in Daytona. Greg Biffle taking the lead after the first 20 laps. We have 50 to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr., some problems. Let's get an update. Check in with Dick Berger. Dick?
Well, right now the hood is up, but the majority of work is going on inside the car where much of the ignition system's electronics are located. There are 2 electronic boxes in there. They are on a plate. That entire plate has been removed. The boxes are out. New ones are in. There's 2 mechanics outside working and a couple inside working as well, trying to get this going. I talked to Ryan Newman, who's been fast, asked him which lane is fast, top or bottom. He said depends on who's going with you. Matt?
Well, down here in the 24 pit, Jay Lupo and Steve Berg just finished making some cosmetic alterations to your front of your car there, Jeff, putting some tape up there. So there's some good beating and banging going on?
Yeah, you know, I got shuffled back there at the beginning. They stopped in front of me, and unfortunately I got the inside lane, so we went to the back. But we got a good car. DuPont Chevrolet feels strong, handling really good, but we just got stuck back there, and I was trying to beat the rear bumper off of Ricky Rudd to try to move us up there. Eventually we finally did get up there, but not without some damage to the front end.
Well, he will restart from the 8th position. Steve?
Matt, before the race, 2004 Nextel Cup champion Kurt Busch told me his car was good, real good. How was it after 20 laps, champ?
It wasn't too bad. I chose the wrong lane early on, whether to go with Vickers or my teammate Greg Biffle. We went straight to the back, but the car worked its way back towards the front, and then we just couldn't break free of that side-by-side action around 5th or 6th place. So we're just going to make a few small adjustments, and this will be the longer run where it should spread us out a little bit, and then that will enable us to maneuver our way towards the front, I hope.
All right, they added a little piece of tape to the front grille. We go to Jeannie Zelasco.
Yes, tape for everyone. That is what we saw at the 16 car as well. Tape going on the grill. We got a left rear tire going on. I'm going to make my way over the jack here. Mr. Biffle, you told me earlier that you just had to get out in front. This car would be fast. I guess you weren't kidding. You must be pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm really happy. The National Guard car is real good. Just nervous about this pit stop. We're having a little trouble with the left rear tire. The wheel well is pretty tight, but you know, as long as I can stay out front. But it looked like those guys are about ready to make a run at me there from behind. So just as long as I got some help up there, we'll be all right.
All right, pit strategy is we have obviously you're going to have to make a stop for some fuel here in the second. You want to share any insight?
Yeah, we're talking about maybe 2 tires. We definitely think we need to put tires on it, but not sure whether 2 or 4 tires. So we're just going to try and see what everybody else does.
All right, thank you, sir. Best of luck.
All right, thanks, Jeannie. 35-year-old Greg Biffle, your leader. Jeff Hammond, so far so good, but over these final 50 laps, you were talking to some of the drivers beforehand in the garage. Egos might bring this up a notch. We might have a little more intensity here.
I think so, Chris. When you start thinking about those over $211,000 on the line, plus this being basically the first big race of the year, a lot of egos are going to kind of come out. And I think what you're going to see in this final 50 laps is possibly the big one. That could be what's going to happen right there.
The big one could be a big mess. Right now, Jimmy Johnson moved up to second. He's right behind your leader, Greg Biffle. More than $1 million on the line here at the 27th annual Budweiser Shootout.